Hello, my name is Christian, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about things in gross detail. The following video will have analysis concerning Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. If you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, it might be a good idea to turn back now. Now, for just a moment, imagine this scenario. An undetermined and insecure 16-year-old high schooler is uncomfortably sifting through everyday life. He's not particularly good at anything, he doesn't have any innate skills or productive interests, and he doesn't know where to take his life when the mirage of adulthood becomes a reality. All he likes to do is see his friends, be around his girlfriend, and just doing general teenager things. And why wouldn't he? He's just a teenager, right? This cycle continues until the boy's graduation, and with this graduation comes the inauguration of the real world. Is he going to college? What's his major? Does he know what job he wants? Does he even have a job? Will he amount to anything? This is the tale of a man who has yet to realize his destiny, and that man is me. So after college, after I have this degree, after I've done my time learning to become a real person, after I write this 40-page senior thesis, will I somehow be better? Gurren Lagann's first episode depicts Simon and Kamina's lowly beginnings in their underground village. The episode ends with them finally reaching the surface, a place that most of the villagers didn't even think existed. At this moment, Simon and Kamina realize there's a chance to be better, there's a chance to grow, but at the same time, the land is barren and far-reaching, unknown and frightening. The future is uncertain, but the character's yearning for growth is permanent. That is where I find myself. My metaphorical drill has dug me to the surface. I'm finally here, after years of studying, years of hard work, years of self-realization and development, years of thinking that I know who I want to be. However, after reaching my first goal, I found myself here. I've reached the surface, but what do I do now? Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is often remembered by many of its watchers to be this nonsensical, bombastic mecha that's only purpose is to entertain the viewer. And oh my god, it is really so much more than that. My first time watching Gurren Lagann was when I was an unambitious 16-year-old, and the show resonated with me in a way media rarely does. I felt I had gained so much insight, gained so much knowledge, and learned a real lesson watching the show. While I don't think the themes I picked up on at a younger age were inherently incorrect, watching the show now as a 23-year-old who has just reached his surface means so much more to me. Gurren Lagann is not only about being the best version of yourself you can, it's also about growing into somebody who remembers why you feel alive. Gurren Lagann is about growing up. So the concept of Eternalism is a bit of a wacky one, but it is embedded into the core of Gurren Lagann's being. Eternalism is the philosophical concept that every moment you've experienced in your life is equally real. This is in stark contrast to presentism, which suggests that only the present is real. Even the first episode of the show seems to take Eternalism on, as it begins with Simon and Kamina at their lowest and ends with them quite literally soaring into the sky they were unsure even existed. This concept is pushed further and further with every achievement Team Gurren acquires. Over and over again, moment to moment, they surpass the person they once were. They change, they grow, they evolve. Even in the final battle, Simo notes that he will never forget this moment, never forget this second. This is the philosophy by which Team Gurren functions. The past and the future influence the present and form a spiral, just like a drill. This can also be said for Team Gurren's fallen warriors along the way. Kamina's death is a significant turning point in the story's tone, and his passing affects everybody on the team for the rest of the series. As Eternalism would suggest, these minutes, these seconds are so real. They change the future forever. But of course, after experiencing this major loss, after witnessing Simon's troubled acceptance, his eventual recovery is even more liberating. The introduction of Nia within this portion of the story pushes Simon to realize that growth isn't imitation. In his grief, Simon pushes this idea onto himself that he has to become the new Kamina, and after long he recognizes he could never be the person Kamina was, and that's okay. But with this epiphany, he grows into his own hero, his own man. The first portion of the story ends with Simon reaching his goal, he defeats the big bad, and he grows into a much stronger person because of it. Gurren Lagann's power system of spiral energy is based upon the idea of fighting spirit, and this is the power that always defeats Simon's foils. The Spiral King and the universe literally both lose to a drill. It seems silly on paper, and really, it kind of is, but honestly, that might be the point. However, the relevance that Lagann and the drill have had to Simon is instrumental in his growth. Simon's proficiency as Lagann's pilot gives him self-confidence and a sense of importance that helps him evolve. As a member of Team Gurren, as Kamina's little brother, Simon finally finds a place where he is needed, a place where he belongs. As the story progresses, he not only becomes a member of this community, but its rightful leader. The torch is passed on from Kamina to him, and while he may not be Kamina, he's still himself. This realization is the ultimate power-up for Simon that makes him into the hero of his own story, rather than the sidekick in someone else's. Once again, Simon's growth isn't instant, but it is constant. His anger, his emotion, and his insecurity build up into a beautiful speech in which he realizes that his feelings are justified. He acknowledges his grief, he's willing to accept that Kamina is gone, but in addition to this, willing to accept who he is. This exact moment is the turning point for Simon. The last few episodes, he has spent his life trudging around, being depressed, still obsessed with the memory of Kamina. However, the fresh viewpoint that Nia brings to the table, although it might be slightly ignorant, is an undeniable wake-up call that pushes Simon triumphantly back into Lagann's cockpit. The time-skipping Gurren Lagann continues to explore its cast in even more interesting ways. 7 years after defeating the Spiral King, Simon and his friends have essentially created a nation with an entire government system based around it. Not only is adult Simon responsible for Team Gurren, but he's now in charge of keeping his people safe and setting a good example. And while he may not be perfect, it's clear that up until this point, he has put an honest effort to be the best he can. This within itself is a huge sign of Simon's newfound maturity as a character. Like, even if Simon's giant stack of government documents on his desk is played for laughs, this is something we all have to do at some point. Growing up is not only hard, but it can also be boring and mundane, and Simon experiences both sides of this as the leader of Communist City. Of course, when the 1 millionth human is born and the anti-spirals come out to play, Simon is scapegoated as the one who destroyed the city, and while this is kinda true, Rasu believes he's doing this out of absolute necessity, clearly showing shades of the village from which he originated. Although, all things considered, Simon actually takes this pretty well. Like, yeah, he's not happy, but he also almost seems like he somewhat understands why Rasu's doing this. This arc, of course, ends with Simon forming an unlikely friendship with Viral, a past enemy, breaking out of prison, and punching Rasu in the face, which I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite scene in the entire show. Seriously though, this scene is so meaningful to Simon's development as a character. In the past, Kamina had hit Simon with similar reasons in mind, stating, "Whenever you stop believing in yourself, I'll come and belt you one." This is the exact emotional state that Rasu finds himself in. He is faced with the looming dread of the anti-spirals, recognizing that he most likely will die. He's lost all hope for himself and attempts to take his own life. While Simon's reaction to finding Rasu is chaotic for sure, it quite literally saves Rasu's life, much like Kamina's fist saved Simon's. Simon is no longer the one who needs saving, he saves others. In episode 26, towards the end of the show, the anti-spiral sends every member of Team Gurren into a dreamlike state in an effort to stop their attack. Simon's vision is quite interesting. It portrays an alternate universe in which Kamina is a coward rather than a hero. In the next scene, this fake Kamina is shown groveling and begging on the ground, trying to get Simon to do the same. Rather than join his idol on the ground, he punches this fake Kamina, stating that he will never give in. In response to this, the real Kamina praises Simon's growth and tells Simon that his universe is the universe that lives within Simon. Simon's time growing and changing, every minute and second devoted to his evolution as a person, it wasn't a waste. He's all grown up. The final battle within itself defines the entire point of Gurren Lagann, at least to me. Even if things seem impossible, keep going for it and try your hardest. Eternalism suggests that every second of our existence is important, so we should utilize every bit we can. When I was younger, the future seemed so far away, and I couldn't be bugged to worry about something that wasn't directly in front of me. But if Gurren Lagann teaches us anything, it's that passion and self-improvement shouldn't be spread out with periods of stagnation. It should be constant. Simon's journey clearly depicts the transformation of a young and naive boy into a fully grown adult. It's funny too, because a lot of people out there really seem to think Gurren Lagann is this show that just spouts endless nonsense about believing in yourself and never giving up. But if those aren't lessons we should all take to heart, then what are? Growing up is hard, it's scary, and sure, I might be unsure of where I should go from here. But if Gurren Lagann has taught me one thing, it's to believe in the me who believes in me.
Just as I was about to give up, something deep inside keeping me alive.
And that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much guys for watching my video about Gurren Lagann and growing up. I feel like the show honestly does a lot of stuff really right. Gurren Lagann will always forever be one of my favorite. It's literally my second favorite anime, so will always be one of my favorites of all time. I just think it's a bloody masterpiece, and you know, just watching it again recently, really kind of those themes kind of came up to me, and it really meant a lot at the current point I am in my life. So I'm definitely gonna try to be a little more consistent when posting. I think the last video I posted was like 6 months ago, so I really want to try to be a bit more consistent with this. Want to kind of keep doing this. I got some more ideas for other videos, but if you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. If you liked it a lot, maybe subscribe would be pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it.